What's up, guys? Kevin here, and I think I finally heard of the perfect way to do a layoff. Granted, layoffs are not good at all. It's definitely a sign that mistakes were made, and it's probably one of the worst situations that people can go through. But I had a friend share with me how their company actually managed a layoff this past season, and I was genuinely impressed because not only did it show that they actually cared about their employees and were doing everything they could to make sure that the transition went as seamlessly as possible, but I think they also took some steps to make sure that the business was secure. The people that were still there felt like they had the tools they needed to continue to succeed, and there was a plan to make things better in the future. So in this video, I'm just going to kind of share that process with you guys. Again, it's pretty straightforward. I think if you really prioritize your people the way that the company says they should, this will be a no-brainer. And I need your help. Definitely like, share this video. Let's help get the word out so maybe this process will become a much more mainstream practice. Now, before we dive into this, I do want to just acknowledge that I understand why layoffs happen. Mistakes are definitely being made that get us in those positions, but we're all human, things happen, and nobody can really predict the future. And especially for companies that are experiencing significant growth and they just feel like they're chasing it and trying to keep up, there can definitely run into times where you have ebbs and flows and things kind of die down and you're not really at the point where you thought you would be. So layoffs are basically the best option to avoid completely letting the company go into the tank or go bankrupt. So again, I do understand that that happens, but I think that it is very important to treat your employees with respect, communicate with transparency, and do everything you need to do to make sure that the business is set up for the future. So that's where this process comes into play. Now, the first thing that they did was they communicated to everybody that there was a significant issue, basically telling them that layoffs were all but imminent. And this is something I think a lot of people lose sight of, especially people like me, or you guys, you might be like in a very technical discipline, scientists, engineers, and things like that. It can be very difficult to understand the business metrics. When a lot of people are telling you how great the business is doing and how much growth you're experiencing, you don't actually know if it's good enough. One thing my mentor told me is, generally speaking, you want to see growth of at least 3%. The reason is because 3% is typically about the rate that we see with inflation. So if you're not growing at least 3%, then inflation is beating you and you're essentially losing money. So that's something that I always try to pay attention to when I look at business metrics, to see if what we're achieving is just growth or if it's exceeding our plan and exceeding what we need to do to stay competitive in the market. But it's going to be different for every industry and every company. So I think it's really up to the actual executives and people that are delivering these messages to be very clear and very honest with how the numbers are actually stacking up so people know if there's really a problem on the horizon. Now, the next thing that they did about 2 to 3 months out from the actual impact was they started telling people that this was coming. They said that in about 2 or 3 months, we'll be doing layoffs. This is how many people we expect to be impacted. And if you want to volunteer, now is the time. So this is for people that are ready to retire, people that want to take a break, switch to a new company, whatever the case may be. You basically get an opportunity to volunteer your name and put it in the pool of people that will be selected to take a voluntary severance. Now, this, I think, is probably one of the biggest keys because you have a lot of people that are probably ready to go or willing to accept a package. So there's no reason why new people or people that are actively growing should be impacted when other opportunities are available that minimize the impact to your company. It also helps with those people that are probably very senior in the company, maybe been there 20 or 30 years. Now they have 2 to 3 months to train their replacements. So you're giving people an opportunity not only to leave voluntarily, but also to help make sure that your business has the training and everything needed for it to be sustainable in the future after they leave. So I think this is probably one of the biggest surprises. I hadn't heard of people being able to voluntarily take severance packages, but I really think that's a game changer and lets people know that not only are you being very transparent and communicating clearly and early, but also taking their concerns into account. Now, about a month later, they came back and communicated that this is how many people are going to be volunteering to leave, but we still have this delta. If we needed 300 people to cut, 200 people took voluntary leaves. So now we're going to have an additional 100, and those people will be communicated to pretty much very shortly. So once you get to that point, now is the time where you know they're going to start having meetings that week with HR and stuff to let you know if your job has been impacted, which I keep saying it, but I hate that word impacted. Everybody's got a different term with it. Your role was eliminated, whatever it was, but basically you're getting laid off. But I think the key thing here that I took away was they actually had HR people that helped them in their network find other job opportunities in or outside of the company. So now you've got people that are given a couple months to try to find a new role, and they're basically opening up their network to help make sure, again, that your transition is as successful as possible and try to give you a head start to updating your resume, getting your name out there, getting some interviews, and trying to find your next opportunity. Again, in my experience, completely unheard of. Normally, I hear about people getting a notification of a layoff and they might have 30 days. Some of them might have until the end of the week. And that's it. You're basically just told, pack up your things, turn in your computer, and we hope that you have a successful life. So seeing a company that did not only give you the heads up ahead of time, but employed their resources to help you find a new opportunity, it just really stuck out to me because that was something that I never thought I would see or hear about. And this company showed that it is possible. Now, again, during this time, people that are getting laid off or are voluntarily taking packages are being able to train their replacements or people that are going to be absorbing their roles. So there's a lot of knowledge transfer happening, and everybody that's getting left behind also has more confidence that not only if this happens in the future will they be taken care of, but while they're still here, they're not just going to be left holding some hot coals. They're going to have the tools and all the information they need to be able to make this transition successful and take over all of their new responsibilities. So that was the actual position my friend was in. He basically had to take two jobs on at the same time, but had somebody that was leaving train him so that he was able to, confidently take that moving forward. So again, this isn't just about being transparent to your people and treating them with respect as they're getting impacted, but also making sure that the people are there, have everything they need so that your business can run as usual. Then, of course, once it actually happens, they didn't have all the awkward retirement parties and going away lunches and stuff like that. People were actually more excited to have these events because they knew that they were getting into new roles. They knew that they were being treated with respect, and a lot of them were excited to try to come back to the company in the future. It wasn't just a goodbye, it was more of a see you next time, because now they knew that the company would take care of them, and if they came back, they would still be treated with the same respect that they would expect from a company like theirs. So, I think this just is the whole picture, everything that you would want. And again, really simple steps. Communicate to your employees, tell them when there's a problem and when layoffs are imminent. Give them some time to volunteer to take a package, and then give an opportunity to the people that are being laid off to find a new role and support them in that process. And just give them time. If you do this a little bit earlier, I guarantee you the rest of the process will go a lot more smoothly and everybody in the company will respect you a lot more. So yeah, that's really the idea here. And hopefully this message makes it out to the people that make these kinds of decisions. I definitely just want to say, if you've got to this point, you've probably made a lot of mistakes, but this is the time to make sure you don't make another one. Do the right thing. Treat your employees with respect. Give them time to adjust and support them so that they can continue being successful in the future. So yeah, I think that's all we had for today. Thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.